Qualitative Therapeutic Technology Challenge about 2 years ago, and I'm a physiotherapist by training, so I'm not an engineer in any way. So I try to understand some things from the engineers, but it's been a good journey. So when we started this competition, initially we thought of it just purely as a competition, and we had all good intentions that we want to take some of these ideas towards the people who best use it. But the reality is that it has not happened, and I think there are many factors towards it. So I think one of the things that we are trying to redo now with this new branding of this competition, and this competition, we've done this in Singapore, we've done this in Malaysia, and we've also done a small version in India as well. So we've, roughly speaking, we realized that there is a potential for it in Asia Pacific. And if you go onto our website, you will see that our website tells you some statistics. The statistics is very, very revealing, both from the user's angle as well as the commercial people. The fact is that Asia is got really 30% of the world, 15% of the world's population have got some form of disability. And Asia is the fastest growing elderly population around. And so you will see, like, say for example, they're talking about in China that in another 10 years time, there will be 1 billion people with disabilities. And a lot of them will be the elderly population. So there's a huge market for it. Where will these people get their equipment? Currently, they are basically getting it from European-based countries. Yes, they are very good. The Europeans are well established in it. However, it's pricey, and at the same time, it's not so culturally specific. So there's a potential for markets here. Is there markets in Asia? Is there developers in Asia? Yes, Japan has got a lot of it. We know in Korea, in Taiwan, there are many of them. But many of these countries, it's funded by government. So government subsidizes the cost of developing something. So like in Korea, they have a lot of wheelchairs, there are a lot of various products and all that, but the government subsidizes it. Because it's subsidized, the industry is not so hungry. It is not moving out of Korea. Okay, so I think what we want to try and do, that's why we looked at an Asia Pacific kind of industry. There is a fairly active, well-developed structure in Australia. Australia now empowers patients who have disability. So if they have a disability and the government says, okay, here you go, this is the money, you can go buy a wheelchair. They can go and choose their own wheelchair now. Before that, it was by prescription, so they can choose the vendor they want. And that has, initially it was not very good story because many companies were guaranteed that they will be able to get so much business. Now they have to go out there and market it. But from what I'm hearing, it is good for both the consumer because they have a choice now, and at the same time, the industry is starting to become more dynamic. They're really reaching out. Okay, so in summary, just to tell you what I'm trying to get across here is that this industry has got a very simple agenda. So I'm going to start off my presentation. And to highlight that, what we are trying to do is to develop what we call social innovators. And these social innovators, just like any other product that you're doing, they do the same thing. But a thought behind them is that, can we do something which is of value to people? So many times the social innovators has got this idea of how to serve. They want to serve people. They know a certain group of population. Could be that their family member had some problem, they thought of an idea to do something, and they try and do that, but at the same time, sorry, I don't know why it's going fast. Okay. At the same time, giving them the right to earn some money. So these kind of social innovators, they must earn some money. That's the reality. If you don't earn some money, then the industry will just close down. So the fact is that it is something that it's necessary to emphasize this to you all as well as your students. We are not asking you to do social services without a return. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm talking frankly, but this is the reality. The reality is that social innovators do have to make money. So whatever you do, it must be priced at a level which does both serve the population and at the same time serve you. So what happened recently is that we got together a group of people, and this is one of our meetings that we had, and we started what we call the Asia Pacific Art Network. And this has been established as a society now. And the intent was to make sure that there are many types of people in the society. So there are some researchers, some engineers. You can see a person with disability. He's our vice president, the pro-term vice president. We've got people from the industry, commercial, agencies, policy makers. We've got investors coming in and all that. So we thought that by having such a society, it would create the ecosystem to bring some of these ideas all the way along. Okay, so this has been established, and you'll hear a bit more from us. Now, I'm just going to share with you some of the things that we did. And so this was one of our competitions that we took part in, and we had it in City Square Mall. It was good. We had the mayor, Denise Pua, as our VIP to come and see the session. And she was very keen on it, and she's still encouraging us on this. But at the same time, as I started in the beginning, many of these ideas, though we tried very hard to move them to some distance, they took a journey, but unfortunately, we really haven't seen so much of the commercialization yet. But I'll share with you some good stories that we have got some success along the way. Recently, in June, we did one in Malaysia, and this was hosted by University Technology Malaysia in Johor, and they got together 5 top universities in Malaysia, USM, UM, UNIMAP, UITM together, and there was about close to 30 teams, and we took part in the competition, and we sort of got the ideas, and some of the ideas from this group of people, we are now nurturing them along the way. So, and I couldn't get one from the India one, but we did something there. But India was a bit different. India, the teams which came in, they were very interested in helping the poor. And a lot of times they didn't think of the money. They just said, I want to just produce one wheelchair for this purpose. You follow what I mean? So in some sense, they needed to be more aware of the need for commercialization. But now I understand because when we do some of these things, we find a partner there. So I understand from my partner in India, many of them are starting to think about this and asking, hey, how do we, get our ideas so that we can still help the people, but at the same time make it commercially viable. By the way, India is quite aggressive. They recently came up with a walking stick which has got sensor base, and it's already sold about 5 million or something like that, and it's very easy to sell in India. The population is very large. Okay, so you've got numbers very quick. The challenge is, will they get it out of India and to other parts of the world? And I think that's that's a thing that they will have to do. So this is what we have done, and I'm going to share. He's on already. Okay, I'm going to share with you one of the teams that took part in this competition, and Eric and his team members. So I'm going to let Eric talk, right? How does he do it?
Just
okay. So, yeah, you're on, Eric. There's about 20 people here. They're waiting to listen to your story.
It's good. So should we start now?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Hey guys, I was around for the last 10 minutes, so I'm really glad to hear that there are people from different schools, researchers, and even from people from the government agencies. Yeah, so today I would just like to share my simple story. Basically, me and my bunch of student engineers from NUS. Dr. Bala, is my slides up?
Yes, your slides are.
Okay, go on. You have to just
Yeah, you just tell me next slide, I'll move it on.
Yeah, alright, thanks. Yeah, so on slide number 1, yeah, so if you can see at the top, me and my friends from NUS, a bunch of student engineers who are interested in developing products, devices for the social good, just want to do an FYP. An FYP that makes sense, that is really meaningful, right? So we met a bunch of engineers from NUS to say that, hey, we want to do something interesting. So the NUS professors link us up with also SGH, the clinicians over there, so that we can have develop a prototype device for the patients over there. Yeah, so generally we started with a topic of stroke rehab device for upper limbs, for the hands. Yeah, so that was in August 2012. So then on, from the concept level, we went to the ground, went to talk to the doctors and therapists, and it was really interesting to know these problems from the engineers' background. From our technical background, we know nuts about medical stuff, we know nuts about rehab or even therapy. So we have to go down, take a look at the rehab gym, know the problems on the ground, talk to people who are always there, and that's how we kind of understand the problem well so that we can build a logical solution for it. Yeah, so next slide. Slide number 2. So that went on to the whole year we were doing our FYP. So we developed concepts and prototypes. You can see we went through a few iterations even within 1 year. So we had a problem that is basically stroke patients who are doing rehab exercises are really bored. The activities are really mundane. So we need something that is interactive, something that's exciting, a device that will probably engage them and is interactive so that they are motivated to do the rehab and to recover their hand strength. Yep. So that's where we started off, and through 1 year we developed a couple of prototypes and improved on it, understand the problem better, and to improve the solution. That's about June 2013, last year. And that's also when I met Dr. Bala, who was speaking just now. Yeah, and so that was when I met him. Just to check, am I still on the line?
Sorry? Next slide.
Am I still on the line?
Okay.
Okay, so yeah, that's where I met Dr. Bala. And if you can see slide number 3, right? Yeah, we also got some awards in US regarding innovation and research. Yeah, and also in June, July 2013, that's where we met Dr. Bala, who introduced us through the NUS professors regarding this arts challenge. So we went to meet him and went to register for the competition, not really knowing what it is. Yeah, so we just went for it because to me it's an opportunity to test our prototype with professionals, with people who have therapist background like Dr. Bala and also other judges in the competition. So that was mid last year when 3 of us we went all out to join this competition, and we got the award of excellence design. If we are at the correct slide.
Yes.
And thanks. Yeah. From then we also through that competition, through the arts challenge, we got a chance to travel to Korea for the student design challenge at the iCreate. Yeah, that's also also like a continuation from the arts challenge, and there we compete with student teams from other countries, Australia, Malaysia, Philippines, etc., etc. So it was really a good exposure for us to be able to compete at the same level with the other projects. Yeah, so that was in July 13. Okay. And then from there on, Dr. Bala asked us, hey, there's competition that is in NUS itself, and there's opportunity for us to join the competition, which is Startup Singapore. Next slide. Yeah. So if you are at the correct slide.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, so we went to join the Startup Singapore last year under the product category. It was really challenging, really seeing other teams who have really, all of them have prototypes, working prototypes. Of course, might not be rehacked or might be something that there's some smart device and etc. Yeah, so we went on to join Startup Singapore. Thanks to Dr. Bala who linked us up with the organizers. Yeah. And that's where we also won the product category. Yeah, so we're really thankful and blessed to be first in product category. It was really surprised. We just did our best and yeah. So that's how we got a sum of money to start something. Yeah. So that's during September 2013 last year. Yeah, we won the product category for this competition in NUS. Yeah, so generally it all started from FYP back in 2012, where we wanted to do something meaningful, whether to do something that is I don't know, like rehab related or assistive related, that is something for the social group, something that helps, and we ended off with really recognition and achievements that we got from just project. But at the end of the day, we don't see it as a project. We see it as our product, ownership of the project, our product. So our projects, we didn't have like PhD students, we didn't have master students who also got taking care of us. We basically were quite self-driven. Yeah, of course, with the advice of the professors. Yeah, but the idea generally came from us. We iterated quite a lot. Yeah, so we are on our last slide. Yeah, so just to share a couple of lessons learned and some sharing. Yeah, so the project is called Create Rehab, and we really experienced and learned a lot through the competitions, a lot of pitching sessions, which were pretty much improved by comments made by Dr. Ma as well. Yeah, and we really went through quite a few of pitching. Yeah, and that really helped us to improve in our future presentations and also how to sell a product to the right people. Yeah. Second point, I think that it's good to believe in your idea and also more importantly test it as soon as possible on the ground. Yeah, there's no point developing a product and staying in a building. So it's good to really get a prototype out quick and go to the market and test it. Yeah, so if it's for an assistive device or rehab device, look for elderly care centers, look for rehab gyms, and approach the right people and get it tested in the right way. Yeah. Number 3, team members with complementing skills is important. Yeah. So our team members, we are from mechanical and electronic and mechatronic side. So we have both electrical and mechanical. So we have a complementing skills that can develop a holistic prototype. Yeah. So I would say that really the team members with complementing skills is important. And number 4, customer feedback is the validation of the solution. Where I say that is basically you build a product, it is for customers, right? It's not for it's not for yourself. It's basically you basically build the product for customers, and their feedback is the validation of solution. If a customer uses your prototype and say that it is good, and there are results showing that there's improvement, or it helps them to work better, or it helps them to transport from a point A to point B better, faster, and that is a validation to the solution you have. Yeah, so these are the 4 things that I, of course there are many more things, but probably these are the 4 points that I want to share today. So, yeah, back to Dr. Bala.
Okay, Eric, can you take some questions?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody got any questions for Eric? Sure.
What's the future plan for his product?
Okay, the question, Eric, is what's the future plan for the product?
Dr. Bala, can you repeat the question?
What's the future plan for the product?
Okay. Well, first question, a tough one. Okay, the future plan of this product, this was a FYP that we developed in 1 year at the AUX, and it was a team of 3. Okay, but now we went on, we kept the team lean to a team of 2 yeah, and now we are actually developing other device that is also helps in hand rehab scope. So yeah, for this exact prototype, we put on a shelf as this was like a learning point for us. But from this onwards, we're actually building some other device some other product that help in hand rehab. Also in the same space, like interactive rehab device. Hope that answers the question.
Any other questions? Yes.
So is he funded right now for the second prototype, or is he going to, how is he going to finance himself
Okay.
while doing the second?
Eric, the question was how are you going to finance yourself for the second prototype?
Okay, good question.
I think he's got a very rich wife. I'm joking, Eric.
Okay, from the cash prize from Startup Singapore, we are using it to build a second prototype, and of course from our own funds, we have to build a prototype to show to investors, or to even through crowdfunding, where probably Dr. Bala will probably introduce some sort of crowdfunding through the Ask Challenge to you guys, and that's where we believe that we can get our funds from. So to answer the question directly, is either to investors or even government spring grants, or also the like POC, POB grants, or even crowdfunding platforms. Yeah. So right now it's not really funded, but we have some money to develop it, and that will bring us to the real funding. Yeah.
One more question, anybody? Dying question, any questions? Okay. Hey, thanks Eric for your time. Can we just put our hands together and thank Eric for his time? Thanks Eric.
Alright, thanks. No.
I'll let you go back to work.
Alright, thanks.
Okay, can we just continue? So what's happened now is that I think this is important, and I want to highlight this to your students as well, for you all to highlight this to your students. Please remind yourself, if you have something which is developed along the way and you think, you may not know it in the beginning that it's got something very unique potential, because you may have got an IP inside it, something which you looked at it and then you did a search, you found that this is quite a novel IP. Please protect your IP. Okay, in submission for your proposal phase, we do not want to know this. Okay, in actual fact, we will put a clause there for you to say that we have no interest in knowing your IP. Okay, because we want you all to be able to grow the idea along the way. So you just have to tell us, okay, this is doing this, but don't go down to the micro levels and draw diagrams and show us what's happening. No, don't do that. Okay? Now, I want to emphasize that what's going to happen is that you will be, the proposals will come through. We have already set up a committee, about 15 people from various countries along the world. And in actual fact, it's becoming a real trauma because we've got some in America, some in Europe, some in Japan, Korea, Malaysia, Australia. So to try and get a Skype meeting is becoming a headache because cannot do it already now. So we've come to a strategy where we are doing 2 Skype meetings. Because like in America, it's like 14 hours earlier. So if the guy finishes work at 5 o'clock, that means it'll be 7 o'clock in the morning on the other side lah. And then I can't get the other person, so it means that there's no way I can find a common time, so we're going to do that. So we promise you that all proposals will get 2 people reviewing it. The review is a very simple process, accept or reject. But we're asking all reviewers to give some comments to you all. We're asking the reviewers to tell you something that you can enhance your project. We are discouraging them from trying to say negative things. You already rejected, that's good enough. No need to say anymore. You follow what I'm trying to say. But if they accept it, we are asking you to, or even if you reject, you can tell the team that, hey, look, maybe think about this, and come in next time or something like that. But the main thing we want to do is to give you some directions as to where you could be developing further. So from the time you finish, your proposal goes in, if you get shortlisted, you have up to March to develop it along the way. Okay? So I will suggest to you at that point of time, you should look at your IP and decide what you want to do with it. If you really think your IP is very valuable and it's got a potential, please go and protect it. That's your duty. Okay, through your tech office or whatever it is. Okay, because once you expose it in the real competition, and particularly if you put up a poster with pictures, diagrams, showing the mechanism and things like that, and judges come and ask you, what's the mechanism behind it? You are already exposing it, so you're at a risk. You follow what I mean? Okay? Okay, so now let's look at, why am I talking about this very seriously? Because really there is a huge market there. And this is not what I put up, this is the BBC report. And I think this was last year's report, and it's actually telling us that assistive technology industry is a $50 billion industry, and it's growing at 6% growth every year, better than putting in the bank. Okay, Standard Chartered, step away. Okay, really investing in assistive technology will be good. Where's the big money? The big money at the present time is vision and hearing impairments. Older people, I think Dr. Tan will tell you, we got macular problems along the way, it's there. Asia is growing older. Elderly people in the past didn't take care of their eyes very well. So in a way, the elderly in Europe are better off than the elderly in Asia because they had better care. Okay? And if you look at it, the daily ADL activities like walking aids and all that represent about 32.6% of the market. I was talking to a commercial guy and he was telling me that his stock, he's got to have a warehouse where he can stock just for wheelchairs. He's got like 16 different types of wheelchairs there, and every wheelchair got different parts on it. And correct, James? It's massive, but let's be real, it's money to be made. So he's prepared to do that. So it's a real growth area. And if we look at a comparison area to it, looking at elderly care, that's also growing very fast. So you look at that, that's even larger, about close to $500 billion worth by the year 2014. And really, a large amount of it is healthcare, yes, agree. When we make a comparison with medical devices are growing at about 3.1%. If you are trying to develop a blood pressure system or real-time ultrasound or something like that, you will know very well that getting into the medical device industry is major problems. HSA will really expect the validation of it to be there. You go to FDA, you got a lot of testing. This takes at least 10 years before your product comes to market. If you don't believe me, there is a very famous gentleman, his name is Dr. Ting from Health Stats, and he did something on ambulatory blood pressure, and really it was a lot of money. He can tell you that there's a few articles written on him. I know him personally, and he actually sold 2 or 3 of his houses to fund his journey all the way, and he was so lucky. I wouldn't say lucky but he had something good but he was so determined. He made it there but it's not the same story for everyone. Okay, but if you look at, say, walking aids, HSA walking aids, device level number 1. You just have to prove very simply that the device is safe and secure. You don't have to go into higher levels. Easy to pass through. So in a way, it's much easier with assistive and rehab technologies versus medical devices per se. Okay, it sounds like I'm trying to sell you koyok lah. And yes, I am selling you koyok without pretending. But I want to tell you that I'm not the only one who sells koyok. I want to show you some real people who actually have done this and made it successful. This is a young girl from NTU. She's a designer, and her name is Esther Wang. And she developed something called a medical doll. Okay, sounds funny, yeah? But this is real. And you can see that she has got all those acrylates along the way, and even if you are very familiar with TED, TED is an organization which is worldwide. They do not invite people any Tom, Dick or Harry. So if they invited her, they must have seen something valuable in her, and she's got quite a lot of acrylates. Where is she now? Just want to show you where she is. So she's opened up a company, and this is called Joy Tinkle. Very simple idea. It's a rabbit. They call it rabbit ray. And rabbit ray is used to tell children not to be afraid of syringes, of injection, of thermometer. Okay, I think moms, dads know this. The white coat syndrome, when the kids see something white, they start crying first thing. Okay, so this is very classical. So she's done quite a bit now. She's spent quite a bit of money and effort into it. And you can see down here in the diagram, this is what the doll does. The doll has got, places in the doll where there's syringes, and the kid can play with it and poke it in and show that, that's where the blood is coming out before they take it. And this is quite important. She's doing a lot of work with KK Hospital, Cancer Society, and maybe you want to go and visit her website, and I'll just show you a little bit about the doll itself. Okay, and this is what the doll is. So if you look at the doll has got real equipments that the healthcare people use. Okay. Will somebody want to pay money for this doll? Believe it or not, yes. Because you think about it, the child is crying. What do you have to do? You have to have 3-4 staff coming and helping to calm the child down. Time wasted. Manpower, you need a lot. On top of that, it makes the service delivery much more comfortable. Parents feel that you're doing something responsible for it. So sure, in today's environment, particularly in Singapore and many developed countries, hospitals will invest into something which is more service focused and what we call a productivity gain. The child feels good about it. If you know of some of the stories, the Luke movies, they created a game for cancer, and this young boy created a game for cancer where he was shooting down things, and it became a very popular thing, and I'm not sure whether it's still around, but it was something that many people started to learn about cancer. So it becomes an awareness topic. So this is real. So she's done it. By the way, she's got investors into it. She's already done crowdfunding, secured quite a bit of money, and she's ready to bring it out, and she's really got a few other ideas in mind based on this. Okay, this is a young student from TP person, TP? Somebody was from TP, right? There you go. Okay, this girl, I think, done you very, very proud. Serene. She's a technology student. I think she's a technology student. She's actually, this is the final product of hers, by the way. before this, she had a wheelchair, she had many other things along the way. And this lady really gung-ho, to the point that she started this company called Sojourn. She came out in the newspaper. A lot of people are trying to help her to bring the product to market. This girl, no go. She went all the way. She got some manufacturer in China to manufacture it for her, and it's selling in the market now. And she's actually sort of studying now at NUS, if I'm not mistaken. And from what I understood, she wanted to do something in business studies. And NUS, SMU, and NTU were all bidding for her. So literally the doors were open because they were like looking at her and saying, wow, this young lady, so determined and things like that. So she's really started a company. No joke, have a look at it. And you'll see the number of people she's got endorsement from. So this is Sojourn. The Sojourn basically is a very simple idea. It's a walking frame with wheels underneath it. So when you want to use the walking frame without the wheels, you just push it down and the wheels pop in. So it becomes a walking frame. But when you want to move along, you push it down, the wheels come out, and you can move it along. You follow what I mean? So it becomes easier to walk on. Now, if you look at what she's shown you, she's got endorsement from, sorry, I need to look at the page. Okay, you see the number of hospitals, she's got all the endorsements on. So she's gone out there, done her work, it's selling in the markets, I think it's about $80 or $90, not too bad, price-wise, it's quite fair. Walking frames about $40, $50 plus the gadgetry on it. And it can fit into any standard walking frame. You just have to plug in the wheels on it. Okay, so she's done very well, and maybe you want to visit that. So this girl, she took part in some of our competitions, and we do keep in touch with her quite a bit, and she's really very gung-ho with it. We know very well, and this is maybe just a small spectrum of some of the ideas, especially for the commercial people. Many of the educational institutions are actually creating a lot of these IPs here, and sometimes they actually don't know what to do with it. But these are some of the better stories. So one of this is called ERES. It's from Nanyang Polytechnic, and actually I'm the inventor of this. So we got this commercialized with Easy Wheels. Winner has got 2 of their patents, one from SP and one from NYP. And the last one there is another girl from TP. She's also created something called a H-frame. And this was shown recently at one of the health fairs. And really the H-frame is a very simple idea. So it's a very simple idea. When we use a walking stick, it's 1 leg. So our base of support is 3 points, 2 legs and your 1 stick. Now with a H-frame, she is able to split the frame up, you can see there, and it now becomes 2-legged. So in other words, now we have a 4-base support. So it gives more stability. So you have the situation where people have got a walking stick, which gives them some stability, but the other side of the coin is that you have to get a walking frame to give you the other form of stability. So she's found a middle ground, which is this H-frame. And so from what I heard from her, I just talked to her recently, they did some crowdfunding on Kickstarter, got a bit of money, they already started to work on it, they are going to launch it very soon. She won a few competitions, just like Eric, and some of these competitions require them to set up a company, so she's really set up a company and she's moving it along the way. She's quite determined about it also. Okay, so I've given you a bit of a spectrum. I may have missed out a few of the other ideas which have been around. I know NTU has got a few as well. And these are more in the assistive and rehab technology fields. So I think, maybe forgive me if I do that. But the short summary is that really assistive technology is what we call the green field. Really, there is very little constraints through legislation or through funds. You don't need huge amounts of testing on it. As I showed you before in the previous slides, there's a great demand. And one of the things which is important is that this also creates a social role for it. So you are not making money for the sake of making money, but rather making money to help other people. And this is reality. The reality is that we need entrepreneurs to make enough to keep feeding themselves. Otherwise, they will not create more ideas along the way. We also realize that the green space, so do your homework, find out some gaps in the area. I can tell you one very simple idea. This was by RP. Design student came out with something very simple. When you eat steamboat, you put your stuff inside it, right? And when it's boiling, you take it out, you have it hot. What happens if somebody got poor vision? They won't be able to know whether it's boiling or not. So what he did was, he actually just created a spoon which has got a temperature sensitive element there. And when it hits a certain temperature, the spoon actually buzzes. Correct? Okay, when the idea came up, first thought is, do we really need it? But let me ask you a question. Everybody had steamboat, no? How many times is your steamboat all gone haywire? Tofu all because you overboil already, right? Correct? So you think about it, if you think of something like this, it's not just for a person with visual impairment. I'm thinking like mothers. Mothers prepare milk. If we could have a bottle with a smart strip on it, the mother will know. If you ask mothers, I think most of the mothers will put on the hand, test the temperature, then decide whether it's okay for the child. So I think there's a lot of elements here along the way we can do this. I mean, if you think about it, with nowadays so much kopitiams around, I wouldn't mind. I like my tea very hot and nice, or some people may like it moderate. Okay, and what happens when you go and ask them tea? You say don't want so hot. They look at you like funny. How to make it not so hot? So if you think about it, you could put a strip of an element there which allows that to be reading it. You follow what I mean? And it could read out, instead of it showing a digital, it could read out and say moderately hot or very hot. I think this is the X factor. Companies may actually want to use this and use this as branding for their products. Okay, so I want to make you think wild and out of the idea. Let your students really go for it. So I think the aim message here is think differently. Okay, any questions, any suggestions, any thoughts on it? I'm trying to sell Koyo, so maybe give me an endorsement that I did my job first. Do you agree? No, I mean, thanks, but do you agree? But do you all agree that, I mean, for some of those who have done some projects, it's a much easier journey than medical devices. Medical devices, I think if you ask the doctors, they will tell you, we got to go through ethics, we got to go through HSA, it's a long journey. Dr. Tan, any comments or for elderly people particularly?
No, always we come to the point that the IP, how are you going to register it? Are you going to register locally, countrywide, or a few countries? So that is always the problem. I mean, I have a few projects around. So the IP always pops up, the first thing. Because you're going to protect your product before you're going to get funded. And the funding, people always ask you how you're going to protect your IP.
And anybody from tech offices or experience with tech offices? Anybody? No? Okay, this is a real question. I think the the way to do it, I mean, from my small experience, is that we try to encourage, usually the tech officers will encourage you to do it under PCT. PCT means for 30 months you have the whole world at your hand. So if your IP gets cleared, by the way, when you lodge your IP, it's the day you lodge it, is the day it's filed. Okay, it may take 6 months to a year before they actually say yes, that it's okay. I mean, if it's just to make you understand something about IP, IP is a claim. IP is a claim. You put a claim and you state that my device does this because it has this unique mechanism or has this unique design for it. If nobody else has made this claim, you got it. You follow what I mean? So you hear this in music. Somebody has added one note on the music score and they got the IP for it. Or the patent, protect the copyright for it. You follow what I mean? So the thing is that now the problem here is this. You got the whole world at hand except for Taiwan. I think the only country in the world who hasn't signed this thing. So you got the whole world for 13 months. So at this time, in this 13 months, you better make sure you're out there marketing the whole thing and finding out where the markets are. If you do that, then you come back and answer, do you want to protect it in America, in Singapore, in Malaysia? Every country you protect is a separate fee. Okay, so if you talk to some people, I talked to Prof. Desai, he will tell you that any IP, the lifetime spending money on your IP is $200,000. So you better make sure that you can make more than $200,000 because you're putting this money aside just to protect your IP. That's all. Okay? Simple question to ask, do you really need an IP? Sometimes some things don't need an IP. Get it first to market. Let everybody else copy it and you move on. While they are copying, you're doing something different. You follow what I mean? You need to think contrarian. So this is some approaches that people use. By the way, even if they did copy it, do you have the money like Google or Samsung to go and defend it? You may not. Okay? And some big boys may just threaten you, by the way. They do what we call IP mapping. And they realize that they were planning to go there and you had gone inside there. So they just want to cause trouble to you. So they will put a suit against you, maybe buy your rights out, and then slash it down. Your IP, they just get rid of it. I own the IP, nobody can touch it now. I don't want to use your IP, I have my own IP, by the way. You follow what I mean? So it's a very, it's worse than the jungle. Okay, that area is very, very volatile. So I think it's good to talk to people a little bit along the way. By the way, IPOS is one of the organizations. You can talk to them. They can help you with some advice on it. But let me tell you something else. Investors, they always want to look for IPs. It's a very simple rule of thumb. The simple rule of thumb is, I got money. When I put money inside, I want to know, do I get some interest out of it? Okay, they are looking at about 8 to 10% returns on it. Let me ask you a question. If you had $50,000, would you put it in my bank? The first question you ask is how much interest I'm going to give you, right? If I can't give you a figure, I said, we're not sure, maybe better, maybe less. You think you'll invest in me? You get where we're coming from? So the investors are always looking for this word. So you must think of this. How do you protect your idea? Whether it be through the design, through whatever it is, you need to have a strategy. We'll talk a little bit about this in crowdfunding along the way. But medical area, you think some of these devices get in easy?
I mean, I've been asked by even the China, manufacturers, how do they market out? So to market out a product, basically, if you have a service to use the product, that will be even better. Let's say I'm developing certain items now with A-Star, And how to market out? I don't need to market out. I put it in my patient's house and try it. If it's good enough, we are already the end user, you see. I feel the whole market itself. So it's easier that way than to try to develop a product and ask whether people are going to use it. So I'm like the developer and the user as well. So that makes things much easier. And that's what I'm talking to the China manufacturer how they could. So some of the Taiwanese, the manufacturer actually owns hospitals.
All right.
So they have no issues with all their products actually. They actually can go all the way from the manufacturer to the user. And there are such few services as such.
That's right. That's right. It's true. It's true. Okay. Any questions? You guys okay? You want to stretch a bit? I've just got my last part to show you a few things. That's all.
One more question.
Yes, sure.
The target user, must it be certain people with certain ailment, certain problem, physical problem, or certain disability?
It'll be better.
Public people.
It'll be better. It'll be better. I mean, if you were to develop a wheelchair and you wanted the wheelchair to be endorsed, if you showed it to me and I tried it out, it doesn't make sense. But if you had somebody with a disability who sort of, sits on it and gives some comments on it, then sure, it will make a lot of sense.
Because there will be another problem. The problem is if we target a certain group of people and the marketability will be a problem.
Okay, I think this one you have to be cautious lah. If you are targeting, maybe I'll share with you an example lah. This is something that somebody brought along an idea, and it is targeted at people with a certain type of disability lah. It's a muscular dystrophy lah. Okay, a muscular dystrophy is a genetic problem which affects people lah. This population is very small, unfortunately. You follow what I mean? So your device now has got a very small market. Question is it sustainable for you? You follow? So if I were you, my strategy would be something like this. I would go into this market to get my footing. I'm not going to make money, but I will learn from that journey, like what Eric is doing. Learn from that journey and move into the next market, because at least you got the footing inside. You follow what I'm saying? So sometimes you have to think long term to do that lah. And sometimes it's buying in trust by people, because they trust you, you can do that. And so from that, if it works for this group of people with muscular dystrophy, it can work for other groups of people. You follow what I mean? And you may have to have a variety of different technologies around for that one.
But a lot of times when I talk to the technical people, some of their ideas I think will not work. But when we discuss, sometimes what I think will work, they are very excited. I recently had another idea that you'll be very quite a very simple idea, but it will be very extremely helpful to the elderly. And they're going to develop it because they think that this can work. Because once some ideas are so simple that you just ask yourself why nobody has done this, you see. And I think those ideas are the best because anyone can use it. Either you're elderly or you're not elderly, you have disability or don't have disability, you can use it. I think that are the best idea. And we get this idea from everyday observation. I deal with patients every day. We see them, we know that what's the difficulties. For example, if you have some of these assistive devices that can help the patient from a sitting to a standing up, position, maybe some seats that can just push the patient up, that will be very useful for a lot of elderly. They can walk a few steps, but they couldn't get up themselves because of proximal myopathy of the lower limbs and all these things. So all these things are actually very simple to do actually, but nobody has done that,
Okay, just to warn you, I've put a protection over Dr. Tan's head. So remember, you got to take a number from me. So ideas, but really, I think most of us, the healthcare people, we will tend to share our problems, our needs quite easily lah. So I think it's good for you all to talk to them as much as possible. Then from that get a way in which you can solve that problem lah.
So another thing about these things is we are even developing things that are remotely monitoring.
Yes.
We have things that remotely monitor your heartbeat, your breathing without even touching you. Just putting it on the Mac. So these things are, and we are doing ambient monitor. So it's not user dependent. Elderly may not want to wear whatever gadget you have or do whatever things you want. But if we take the control out into the ambient space, build up a house that can monitor it remotely, then you don't depend on the user anymore, which is a bit difficult. So this is another big field that I'm doing with a few companies, remotely assessing like breathing, heartbeat, things like that. So it's very interesting.
Maybe can I add
yes, sure.
something to it? Okay.
Yes.
I think just to add, it's actually quite important to actually do the actual trial in the real life situation, especially like things like in nursing homes, common hospitals. Reason why? Sometimes we have actually for example, we can actually design a very good device, okay, that is very useful, but at the end of the day, when you actually test it in a real situation, although it's good, but the device is very bulky. So there's another issue where do I keep this device? And if you talk about Singapore as per se, we have limited space. So that device, although it's very useful, but because it's so bulky, there's no place to put. So therefore, it's very important to actually test it in the actual real life situation where the end users can give you some feedback to actually fine-tune your products in a sense.
I mean, maybe I want to just add, just recently, Raymond's from Agency for Integrated Care, so they had a national productivity seminar. And it was very interesting that many of the polys, ITEs had their products on display there. But if I can be a little bit nasty and in line with what Raymond is saying, many of the ideas were paper exercises. They had not tested it with the real customer. You follow what I mean? So you have to go out and test it. And one thing that Raymond's AIC is doing is funding technology which helps in productivity. So if you have a technology which will improve the care, particularly in the community, because manpower is a real major issue, and like what Dr. Tan says, where patients can be monitored on their own at home and things like that, there is money for it. So there is money to fund that. I mean, obviously the money doesn't go to the researcher or the inventor, but to the test bed partner. That means if they are testing it in an agency, let's say for example, a day activity center. The day activity center is in a position, I mean obviously they have to evaluate it, get the approvals and all that. The fund will go to the day activity center to buy that product at a certain, you pay 70%, your grant gives up to 70%, right, Raymond? 65% of the product. So the day activity center is much more comfortable to buy your product if it meets all the requirements.
Okay, I think to more or less clarify and quantify, if let's say you have some products, you can actually commercialize it with like Spring, or you won't get support of stars and all this. For us, we actually fund the end users,
Yes.
the nursing homes. So we give them money to buy from your final product. So you have actually trial your prototype and being commercialized, then potentially we can still fund the end users to buy the products from your vendors in a sense.
So in other words, just to make you understand, the business model is that if your product is endorsed by organizations like, in this case, AIC will be asking its agencies around to purchase this because it means that it improves productivity. So you're guaranteed a market. Do you follow what I mean? So
it's more in terms of the institutions like nursing homes. They themselves
exactly
wanted this product. We don't endorse any vendors, but we will actually facilitate the purchase
That's right.
of all these products according to their needs.
So you actually have like a market because you've tested it with them and they agree to it they're prepared to buy it, and obviously they can get some funding from AIC. You have this market which is, a consistent market.
Can I add something?
Sure.
Okay, I'm from College Central, IT. Just want to share that the beauty of this competition, okay, basically it provides, an ecosystem, that can help, to make sure that the idea works, and then after that, it can be commercialized and be tested in the field and things like that. From the College Central perspective, okay, we actually have collaboration with the homes, okay, and we actually test our systems or our devices in the homes for improvement, for whatever reasons that we need to improve it. Okay, so if you are interested, I guess College Central can help to test, to field test your product. Okay, you may want to catch hold of my colleague Bong Ho over there. Maybe you have to raise your hand. Okay. And then we can field test some of your products, in your homes, so that we can see how we can improve the products.
Okay, so maybe I just run through the last part. I mentioned to you that shortlisted teams will produce their prototypes and bring it for competition. This is still a competition in its true sense to some extent, but we want to stretch it further by offering some of the teams which are winners and have been identified by commercial parties, because as an association we have VCs, we have commercial people who show an interest, and obviously the users as well. So what we have done is that we've partnered with StarHub, and as I understand it now, StarHub is offering this to all teams who take part in this competition. However, I won't say however, but they are now talking to their Indonesian partner, which is Indotel, and their Thai partner as well is TrueMove, to also look at this because they use the same platform. So that's why we're now starting to get entries from all around the place. So you will see that we know that we will see a lot of entries coming in from overseas as well, because some of these countries, they really are looking for certain platforms. So this platform is a crowdfunding platform. It's actually a 3-phase platform. So the first one is crowd voting. And all teams which are shortlisted will be entitled to a crowd voting platform. What's different about this? The platform, we're discouraging people to go and ask their friends to write in and support my idea. That's very easy to do. You tell your friends, hey, do this for me. Your whole class, 70, 80 people all file in. And we've done this. We did it in Malaysia. We know this. You'll be surprised. The computer just keeps going and going and going suddenly, because everybody, they call their friends all to support it. But we're going to use a different strategy. We're going to ask them to validate their idea. So when you put up your idea onto the voting system, you must give us the value proposition of your idea. Okay? And the second thing is that, we hope that by getting the endorsement, and this is real endorsement, by getting the real endorsement, you guys, your teams, will be able to tell that this idea is really good. So if I can retranslate that, it doesn't matter whether you win or lose, you already know your idea is good by true support. You follow what I mean? Okay? And so because it's in the social market, the whole market there, people can say I like or don't like, and there will be criteria based on it. So we are not just looking for people to say I like, I don't like. That's one part of the voting, but the more important is there a value proposition? So we're going to make the teams give us a statement of value proposition. They have to put up their idea with a value proposition. It's a good exercise for the teams, because the teams can crystallize their idea and say, my idea does this clearly. Okay, so that's the first part. The second part is that we hope by you telling us exactly what you said, you will get partners. Because this is going to happen. I can tell you that really when we started this competition, we straight away, we already got a partner, we've got somebody from America who's looking at something similar to what we're doing, and they're saying, hey, can we work together? Why not? You follow what I mean? So here you go. You'll be surprised. You get all your commercial people coming in and saying, I like this idea. Do you want to come and talk to me? You're going to get the users coming in. You're going to get a whole lot of people coming in. So I think the ideas here will flourish within that 3 months. So StarHub has asked us to do this for 3 months window. Okay, so I want to encourage you. We're not going to force teams to go into the voting, but it's a shame if you don't do that. Okay, so it's just an endorsement. For some of the educational institutes, it's a good way in which to tell your management, I need some more money here. Can you help me to make this prototype? Because, management say, you come and tell me you want this. The other lecturers also say, I want this. But here you go. We have so-called unbiased opinion. Hey, I got interest from Japan, from Russia, from these people. All these people will be here. So it's a really good way of looking at it. The last part is very important. We will take this offline from the competition per se. And what's going to happen is that certain selected teams will be identified. We will make with them a proposition to say, would you like to get some help to try to get some money from the crowd through crowdfunding, and with that, you give us a promise that you will develop certain number of prototypes for certain users and let them be your first customer. Okay, so if you look at the window from April to October, we're going to do that. Is there strings attached to it? Yes. Sorry, I'm being honest to you. Anybody who's going to invest time into you to help you along the way will want to get something out of it. You have a call. You have a call. If you think you can do it on your own, go for it on your own. But VCs are going to come in and say, I will mentor you, but look, I will only do so much for you. After that, if you want my time, I need to get 5% of your business or something like that. But let's be honest, no VC is going to put time and money and ask for money if they know you're not going to make money. Agree? So by the endorsement that they want to take some shares in your company, it tells you that you have something really rolling along the way. Okay. Now, is this unusual? No, it's not. It's around for a long time. Kickstarter does this. Malaysia's got one called My Magic, which does this. You can get on it. Many various schemes come in, and usually the government comes in some form of support for it. So there is some funding to help you along the way. But the main thing is that this will be to get your money and to get your first customer. Once you got your first customer, hopefully in your local environment, then this will move on and you can look at the whole world as your market. So this is how the model goes. This is a little bit more of the flow along the way. It's not as straightforward as I make it sound. There are specific questions we ask teams to answer. We are actually working with one team now already, and I already sent them all the questions to answer what it is, because the crowdfunding manager is asking these questions, because they have to do a promotion program for you to attract money. Nobody is going to give you money if you don't have a value proposition. Okay, so I want to highlight this for you, because I don't think all your teams are going to want to go all the way. Some teams may stop at competition level. That's okay, not a problem. But those teams who want to take it on seriously, in the local context, there's many youth funds, YSAP fund, there's a lot of funds to Spring for youths below the age of 36. They can tap on it, okay? And usually these funds are very, very attractive. For every dollar the team puts in, the government puts in $3. And in actual fact, the government doesn't take, even though it's put in $3, it will take it's shared. That means, let's say they only two partners, they'll get 50%. So the person who's put in $1 actually gets back $2.5 out of it. You follow what I mean? If you make money, because the government is encouraging this a lot. So I think these are some of your teams where students are very, very serious about going all the way, or at least in the next 2 years, going all the way. It'll take about that period of time to go. So there's a whole process along the way. So, and I think my final one is there, but I'll just pull back to this slide to maybe allow you all to look at it. So I think this is something that we really want to do, and our target as a society is that we want to actually try and get within the next 5 years at least five products to market through some form of facilitation that we will do along the way. It could be through support of government bodies and various other things. We actually now already talking to the National Youth Fund, and the National Youth Fund will actually support some activities of youths. So we are looking at how we can facilitate some of these activities along the way. By the way, the competition is open for open category and also educational institutions. We are really starting to get a few from the open category. So these people are, techno geeks who do something at home, and they want an opportunity to test it out, so they're coming into the competition. So it's open to any age group. There's no limit to the age group, but definitely there's a lot more funds in the 36 and below, because most countries are encouraging that. Any questions or any comments? This part here is a little bit more complicated. The crowdfunding cannot give promises. There's no guarantee. Really, a lot of times it's very difficult to, even if you do get money and you get crowdfunding, it's still very difficult to get into market. There are many other factors to it. And any questions? Anything else? We'll put up most of these things in terms of details. Actually, majority of what we're doing in terms of crowdfunding is already up on the some of the slides. I just took out a few of them. They're actually on our website. So please go and visit the website and have a look at it. Just want to conclude that we are calling for the open category, the competition, the proposals. It's an online submission. There are 3 fundamental questions we're asking there. There's some guided assistance on it. So put it in, should be in by 21st of November. We already are starting to receive a few entries now, and to avoid any rush. We know everybody kiasu they will always submit the night before. I think that's our concern. The thing is that we need to shift it to all our international community people. So we are already starting. Some of them, when they come in early, we will actually put it out to them and ask them to get their opinion. So if you put it in a bit earlier, maybe we could give you a reply within a week or 2 to say yes or no. So at least that gives you a bit of a head start. Okay. Are we okay, people? Okay, I think time to go down to College Central's nice Kofu and have a cup of coffee, and maybe energy level dropping now, so time to get some pep up, and maybe take the opportunity to interact with people and have a chit chat and see what you have an idea, you want to network. I think this is also an opportunity for that one. Okay, if there's nothing else, shall we call it an evening? Okay, thank you very much for your time. Thank you.